So you're always going to be your greatest teacher. Hands down, you're going to be your greatest teacher because, again, it is your life. Welcome back to the other side, everybody. It's your host, Scientist 9, aka the Sage, also known as the Jot. Welcome back to How You Are Living. So, just want to talk to you briefly. One thing I did realize as I go throughout life, various days, various hours, various minutes, all that good stuff, right? I have figured out who your greatest teacher will be. And I know people say experience is the greatest teacher. And yes, that does have part to do with it. I would say your greatest teacher as far as a physical person would be yourself. You are going to be your greatest teacher. You're going to be your greatest cheerleader, your greatest motivator. You're going to be your greatest enemy. You're going to be your greatest savior. You. I say that specifically going to the mental capacity of self and self-development. Now, I'm not saying that you will not utilize help from others or utilize resourceful or be resourceful using other people's ideas, using their advice, suggestions. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that as far as who physically will get you to the next level, who will coach you, who will motivate you, who will physically get you out of bed, who will physically talk to you every single day, it's going to be yourself. Thinking about it like this. You're going to be your greatest teacher. And there's something that I practice, I'm sure we all practice it, unconsciously or consciously, self-talk or talking to yourself. So talking to yourself is an actual useful tool. Now, I'm not saying to have a full-fledged conversation in public with yourself in front of anybody. I'm not saying any of that, okay? What I'm saying is conversations when no one's around, being explicit with yourself, reliving the experiences in your head, not in a traumatic standpoint, but from an experience learning standpoint. So what do I mean by that? Let's say you went through something that may have been good or may have been bad. Let's say you liked some things from it, you didn't like some things from it. The best thing that you can do is, when they say learn from your experiences, go back through that experience that you remember based on the emotions, feelings, the logic, situation. Just go back through it over and over and over in your head until you can nail down a strict prediction of an outcome. And I say that to be funny because in life, we make predictions. You know, I call myself Scientist 9 to be exact. But we make predictions about every single thing, about every outcome. That's just how humans of a higher consciousness live. You're not going to do anything in life, whether it goes to work or going to an investment, going in a relationship, dealing with family, friends. It can be whatever. You're not going to do anything in life without a prediction of an outcome. I know that sounds just, whoa, but everything you do in life has a prediction and an outcome, right? Cause and effect. I'm not going to say to myself, I'm going to drive down the highway today and take this route because I know I can get to work faster, versus I go down into a lane that is full of traffic. Now, I predict the way I go will not have traffic so I can get to work or my place of wherever I'm going in a meaningful time, punctual time, say punctual, in a, punctual time frame without thinking about traffic, right? I predict that every single morning. Or anywhere you go, you predict that every morning. You do that by, well, if I know I leave this certain time, I can get here this time. Or I know I have to leave 30 minutes in advance to get here, or 20 minutes, or whatever it may be. You may look at a GPS, you may not. My point I'm making is you are still predicting the outcome of leaving and going somewhere, because in your head, you have the outcome. That's how your life should continue to work in your goals too. You have in your head the outcome of a prediction you made about performing a certain action. So again, I always use fitness. Oh, shout out to In-Trend Fitness, Schoolfield, what's going on? And also brought to you in association with DB Fitness. Yeah. But the point I'm making is, you have an outcome in your head by a prediction. You get to that outcome by doing the action to get there, okay? Based on the prediction that you have. However, sometimes we have to take into account, we make predictions of good and not so good outcomes. And that's called modifiers, it's called variables, it's called possibilities, it's whatever the fuck you want to call it. Bad luck, good luck, it don't matter. Anomalies, we can say that. But you still also should learn to predict certain anomalies or certain outcomes or certain cases of luck, just in case that may speed you along or hinder you from getting to the predicted outcome. Okay? Again, let's use fitness. That's the easiest thing. You know, I always talk about fitness a lot because everybody will understand fucking body. Everybody understands body. Okay, I say that, I harp on that shit, I bang on that shit. So, a predicted outcome of me working out, doing resistance training, eating healthy is I'm going to gain lean muscle mass, I'm going to decrease my body fat percentage, I'm going to increase my flexibility, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know, all the above. We have that about ourselves. If I do this, I predict by a certain time, this should be the outcome. Like, again, going towards traffic or fighting against traffic, to where you got to go in the morning. Same outcome. However, sometimes in traffic, the GPS or you may not see the stalled traffic, or you may not see the accident, or you may not see the construction zone or wherever may happen on the road that either speeds you along or prevents you from getting to your outcome or destination. The same thing goes with fitness as well. So if I have a prediction that I'm going to do this by this certain amount of time, at this time, this outcome should be seen, I predict that this should be the actionable steps to get there. I also predict that, hey, this may happen. I may have a period of injury. I may have a period of just high stress. You may or may not factor in eating bad. You may not factor that in. And I think that's a lot of times as people, we don't factor that shit in when it comes to fitness, especially fitness. But we also don't factor that stuff in when it comes to just everyday goals. We don't factor that in when it comes to starting a business. We don't factor that into events in the workplace. We don't factor that into relationships. We don't factor that into damn near everything. We don't factor the bad in. And I know that sounds kind of crazy to say, but however, there are two sides to every coin. There is light, there is dark. There is positive, there is negative. You have to factor both in to have balance. I'm not saying you got to factor every negative fucking possibility that's going to happen. No, but you have to have some room for error. That's balance. Just like even in the bad, you have to have some room for good. That is balance. Everything can't be all good. Everything can't be all bad. Everything has a set of problems. Everything has a set of solutions. That is balance. So again, going through life, you have to take into account the negative shit that can happen. You don't focus on it. Again, there's a difference between focusing on it and just taking into account. Taking into account means that you know in your head there's a possibility that this may happen. You know in your head there's a possibility that this could happen. You know in your head there's a possibility that this out the blue may possibly, this may happen, this may occur, this may not happen, whatever it may be. But you still know that there is an opposite of a reaction. For every action, there's an opposite reaction, right? The problem where we attract the shit is we focus on it. We focus on, damn, we don't want the bad to happen. We don't need the bad to happen. That's where you attract it versus you only focus on the good that can happen. Bad may happen, but you still focus on the good, okay? And that's one thing that that in our predictive minds, in our scientific minds, we have to take into account there is always going to be good, there's always going to be bad, okay? That's the whole part of the experiment. You have independent and dependent variables, right? You have a control. You also have that the experiment is predicted to go this way. The experiment is not predicted to go this way. However, we take into account that this could possibly happen. And when you get into the phase of the explanation and discussion, you always talk about what could have happened, what may have happened, or what may have went wrong, or what can be used in, further research. And that's how we have to identify our lives too, in a scientific way. In any outcome and anything we want to do, as far as any achievable goal that we have in our mind, we have to treat it like an experiment or a game or whatever, because that gets your mind to start, thinking about solutions to problems that may or may not occur, or total outcomes or predictions. So we have to, yes, all of us, we have to start using our minds scientifically, logically. In its rawest form, it's just energy in different expressions. And I think we use more emotion than we use logic in the society now. I think we have to start using more logic, using our brain. Everybody has a brain, but everybody's not using it. I mean, this is called ace to ace. Everybody's not using a brain. You're using devices and you're reusing other people's brains and whatever to live our lives. And again, that's why I go back to the notion we should be our greatest teacher. And we do that by, of course, making predictions and looking at outcomes. And we do that by evaluating some of the decisions we made or may have not made. We also use it by factoring in good and bad. So you're always going to be your greatest teacher, hands down. You're going to be your greatest teacher because, again, it is your life. So with your life, you have to look at your life, look at your predictions, look at the outcomes, and look at the positive and bad that's happened, and continue to run that experiment. So with that being said, it has been a gracious, nice little moment for you all to come out, check out how I'm living, so we're checking out how you're living. But again, do me a favor, click that thumbs up button, click the notification bell, and click the subscribe button. Why? Because you fucking like it. So again, let me give a quick benediction. The word has been given and I have spoken. It is survival of the fittest. So always remember, drown it out with the music, drown it out in the music, drown it out within the music. Why? Because it's the way. We'll see you all on the other side.